أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings upon all of our respective viewers. Thank you for your presence this evening. This is of course Ahlulbayt TV and the Q&A session coming to you live. We are on air for the next couple of hours, just under 2 hours until 9 p.m. inshallah. And so plenty of time for you to get your questions in. Please feel free as always to participate through the usual means, such as the phone lines, which are open now, and inshallah the number will be appearing on your screens forthwith, as well as the other contact details such as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can send us an email, or you can send your questions using the text messaging service as well as WhatsApp. And alhamdulillah, as always, we have our esteemed Islamic scholar with us, His Eminence Sayyid Muhammad al-Musri. So on behalf of all of our viewers, I'd like to welcome him to the show, His Eminence Sayyid Muhammad al-Musri. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjil farajahum. Thanking Allah for His countless bounties and admitting that whatever we thank, our thanking itself is a bounty which needs to be thanked for. So we are in fact unable to thank Allah enough. We say, "Oh Allah, we thank you for your countless and unlimited bounties that we can never even count." As Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try to count the bounties of Allah, you will never be able to count the bounties of Allah. So how come we can thank the bounties which are countless? Because we don't have any way to thank the countless bounties, but we say, "Oh Allah, we thank you and thank you and thank you," and admit that we will never be able to thank you enough. This evening, I would like to start our session, our episode, by a Quranic verse in which Allah says, وَمَا بِكُمْ مِن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever bounty you have is from Allah. Why? Allah is telling us that whatever bounty we have is from Allah, simply because many of us think that what they have in hand is a result of their smartness, efforts, hard work, family, influence, knowledge. Whatever we have, God forbid, if we think that what we have is a result of our own efforts, means we are ignoring the real source of the bounty. We are ignoring the giver who is gifting us, his bounties. So Allah is reminding us, وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever bounty you have is from Allah. If you are highly educated, it is from Allah. If you are well-to-do, from Allah. If you are healthy, from Allah. If you have knowledge more than others, it is from Allah. Whatever, even our iman, our worshipping Allah, our religion, if you find yourself guided on the right path and performing the obligatories on time, it is not because you are brilliant. No, because Allah has gifted us with whatever bounty we have, because our bounty in deen and dunya, bounties in religion and in the worldly life, all are from Allah. And whatever bounty we are enjoying, we always need to admit that it is from Him. In our hearts, we know that whatever goodness we are having, it is from Allah. You have children, you have family, you have a good wife, you have good family, good parents, whatever you have, whatever we have, it is only and only from Allah. To thank Allah and to be grateful to Allah, and to always remember that these bounties should make us more humble, not like those who get proud because of the bounties. A person was granted by wealth, instead of being humble to Allah who granted him the bounty of wealth, some of them go astray and behave in arrogant way and feel proud that we have more than others, means we are better than others, and they look down to others who are not having wealth. That is completely wrong. We seek from Allah to enable us to thank His bounties and to protect us from using His bounties in disobeying Him. When we admit that whatever bounty we have is from Him, we should always use the bounties of Allah as Allah ordered us, not otherwise. How big injustice to use the gift from Allah against the orders of Allah. May Allah protect us all and keep us with those who always thank the bounties of Allah. And no doubt, our greater bounties is our faith, our iman in Allah and the Prophet and Ahlulbayt. And the value of our faith in Allah and the Prophet and Ahlulbayt is more than the whole world. If someone wants to estimate the value of what Allah has created in this earth, the bounties of Allah in this earth, the gold, the silver, the jewelries, and whatever thing which Allah has created in this life, the love of Ahlul Bayt is much more valuable than every wealth on this planet. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Shukran Lillah.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Okay, so let's go to the first question. Yes. My share from my father's estate was used by my elder brother to... My share from my father's estate was used by my elder brother to my husband to do business. Is it allowed without my consent? Can my brother or husband or both decide without me?
The share of a female was used by her elder brother in partnership with her husband without her consent. Her elder brother has no right on her share, nor her husband. Even the husband does not have right on the share of his wife. We don't have in Islam any right on the brother or for the brother on the property of his sister, and no right of the husband on the property or the ownership or the money or the wealth of his wife. They have no right to decide without your consent. That is the Islamic rule. But in some countries, there are some concepts of tribal remainings. They think that the father goes away, then the elder brother is in his place. Okay, we respect the elder brother, but elder brother has no right on the property of his younger sisters at all. No, as he is entitled to use his own share as he wants, his sister is fully entitled to use her share as she wants. So the elder brother has no right to use the share of his sister in putting it in any business with anyone without her full consent, full approval, full agreement. So if the elder brother behaves on his own, he is doing wrong. If the husband behaves on his own in the property or the money or the wealth of his wife, he is wrong. Wife is entitled on her own property, and no one has right on her own property but only herself. That also is the case not only for the married female, but even unmarried. Some elder brothers behave with the share of younger sister. Say she is 15 years old and father passes away. So the elder brother decides himself to put the money here and there in business or in partnership. No, she is baligh. She is entitled to decide. If you want to put her share in any business or in any work, you must tell her and she must agree. You cannot decide on her behalf. Only the children. In Islam, children are those who are not baligh. Not baligh. The share of the children can be controlled or managed by the what we call al-wali or al-wasi, means the person who is trusted, the trustee on the children, on the orphans. The trustee on the orphans has right to put the money of the orphans in a suitable place to save it or to invest it. It must be saved. But when the child is baligh, then no more anyone has any right on his wealth or his share.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. There are 8 rak'at optional prayers before the 4 rak'ats of obligatory Asr prayers. If obligatory Dhuhr and Asr are joined, then when are the 8 rak'ats optional of Asr prayed?
The 8 rak'at of nafila of Asr is like the 8 rak'at of nafila of Dhuhr. Nafila of Dhuhr is 8 rak'ats before the obligatory Salah of Dhuhr. Same, the 8 rak'ats of nafila of Asr is before performing the obligatory Salat al-Asr. The question, when people pray with congregation, jama'ah, so they don't get time to pray the nafila of Asr. No problem. If you are in jama'ah, joining the jama'ah has got more great reward. So you can, after performing Salat al-Asr, perform the nafila of Asr after performing the Salah of Asr. That is in case you don't have chance or time to perform the nafila before the performance of Salat al-Asr.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Why is it haram for men to wear clothes made with silk?
why it is haram for men to wear pure silk. The question of why should not come at all from those who believe in the absolute wisdom of Allah. No question of why. No doubt, nothing in Islam based on nothing. Nothing. No rule in Islam based on vacuum. Every rule in Islam is based on the benefit of human being. Islam allows every good and disallows every bad. As we read in Quran, لِيُحِلَّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Allah sent the Prophet of Islam, peace and blessing be upon him and his holy progeny, to make every good allowed and every bad not allowed. So everything which is not allowed is bad. Now you want to ask, what is the real harm from wearing pure silk for men? Why men are not allowed to wear gold and pure silk? We say, Allah knows the best. We are sure that Allah does not make anything haram, not allowed, but to avoid us, to protect us from dangerous, harmful effects. So wearing pure silk for men is dangerously harmful, even if we don't know the details of the dangerous harm. We believe that it is haram means it is dangerously harmful. Why it is not allowed for us to pray morning namaz in 3 rak'ats? Can we? We cannot. If anyone wants to pray morning salah instead of 2 rak'ats as 3 rak'ats, his salah is invalid and he is committing a sinful act. Why? Allah knows. Allah knows why morning salah should be 2 only, 2 rak'ats. Allah knows why Salat al-Maghrib is 3 and Salat al-Isha is 4 rak'ats. No one can come and argue with Allah. Why? Allah knows. And our thinking abilities are much lower than understanding every reason. We cannot understand our own body. Now, if you open a book of medical sciences and read about your own body, till today, the greatest medical scientists are unable to understand 99% of the functioning of the human body. Why? The eye, why the ears, why the tongue, why the heart, why the lungs? Millions of questions. Allah knows. Allah created us and He knows, as everything in our life is managed by Allah. He created us and He gave us the way of the perfect life. When we obey Allah, we will be then in harmony with the universe and in harmony with ourselves. So briefly, the pure silk and the gold is not allowed for men to wear. The reason is best known by Allah, and we in general know that it is harmful. Details of the harm is known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet and the infallible Imams alayhim as-salam.
Okay, so before we move on, I just wanted to ask if one says, if we were to, let's rephrase that question and say, I submit to all of the laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me, but I'm just curious, I would like to know the reasons why. would that be a better, of course, that would be a better way maybe to frame the question, but surely if
Okay,
in that.
no harm to try to understand whatever we can understand. It is not haram to try to understand whatever we can, but to keep on insisting on understanding what is beyond our rational abilities is wrong. That is the situation, that curiosity, okay, but we have to remain in the frame of believing in our reality as human beings. We are human beings, and all our abilities are limited. Our sight is limited. Our hearing in our ears is limited. Our muscles are limited. Our thinking is limited. Putting this fact in mind, that we as human beings have got limited abilities. Okay, we try to understand whatever we can, but we can never claim that we can understand everything. Now, in any science, in medicine, in physics, in chemistry, in algebra, in any science, you will find the big scientists admit that they know something, but they don't know everything. They admit that. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. We have a call on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أنا اسمي ناصر.
Yes, go.
عندي سؤال.
Please.
اثنين خوات.
Yes.
واحد منهم كلش الأصغر عندها ذكاء وقابلية. ماخذ فلوس مال أبوهم اللي مات وتصرفها على نفسها، وعندها أخت هي مريضة بس تفهم تدري شكو ماكو وتعرف انه حقها مأخوذ. اخوها دا يعترض او إلى حق شرعا انه يخبر على اخته اللي ماخذ الفلوس ودا تظلم اختها.
Okay. The question is, two sisters lost their father.
Yes.
One of them is clever.
Yes.
And the other one is not well, mentally retarded.
Yes.
The one who is okay has taken the wealth of the one who is mentally retarded and spending on her. Is it permissible for the brother of these two sisters to complain against that sister who is taking control of the wealth of that disabled sister? The answer is this. If the sister is disabled, the disabled needs someone who looks after her rights or after her share. The disabled or mentally retarded person should not give his or her money in hand because they are not proper in thinking. Allah in Quran says, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Don't give those who are not perfect in thinking, don't give them wealth. So in the case of one sister who is mentally retarded, her sister takes care of her share. It's permissible, but that needs a permission from the marja of taqleed, because if this disabled sister has got elder brother or many brothers or many sisters, there's no way that one of them takes control without permission of the marja of taqleed. So in this case, they should refer to the marja of taqleed or the wakil of the marja of taqleed, and he appoints a person in charge who looks after the share of the disabled sister, and that will be perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, please. God bless you.
Thank you very much indeed. I was told the plastic surgery is being done in Iran, which means that it is allowed. Can a female have a plastic surgery and on any part of her body by male or female doctors?
First part of the question, plastic surgery sometimes is allowed and sometimes is not allowed. And don't say that it is being done in so-and-so country. No, we don't have a country on this planet which is 100% whatever going on there is according to what Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam wants. Of course, the countries are different, but we don't know any country today in which we can say everything going on there by anyone, by any doctor is 100% according to Islamic Sharia. No, we don't have. So plastic surgery, whatever it is being done, has got permissible part and other things which are not permissible. Number one, plastic surgery done by male to a female is not allowed when it makes the male look or touch something which is haram to look at or to touch in the female's body. Number two, plastic surgery in certain parts of the body is not allowed even if it is done by a female to female. Female to a female, it is not permissible in certain special or private parts. It is haram completely. It is haram completely. So we say plastic surgery depends on the nature of the surgery. It is not always allowed and not always not allowed. Yes, please.
Okay, my Sunni sheikh in my university said that all Ahlulbayt were Sunnis and not Shia. How to reply him, please?
This claim makes us smile. Of course, the mu'min should always smile. But when someone claims something which is against logic, so the reaction is to smile. That sheikh who claims that Ahlul Bayt are Sunnis, I want to ask him to define what is the meaning of Sunni. If you mean the followers of Hanafi or Shafi'i or Maliki or Hanbali sect, the main four Sunni sects, then it is very clear that the Hanafi, who was the first of the four Sunni sects, he was born 80 years after Hijrah. he did not meet the Prophet even for a second, because he was born 70 years after the passing away of the Prophet. So how come Ahlulbayt can be followers of someone who was born 70 years after the Prophet? Was Ali ibn Abi Talib Sunni, or Fatima al-Zahra, or Imam al-Hassan, or Imam al-Hussein, peace be upon all of them? That is something illogical. In fact, Muslims after the Prophet of Islam, they went into two main directions. Some Muslims remained faithful to the allegiance of Ghadir. Ghadir announcement, which was by order from Allah, and it was conducted by the Prophet himself when he came back from his farewell Hajj. And Allah ordered him, "O Messenger, convey what Allah has revealed on you, and if you don't convey, as if you did not convey any message from Allah. And Allah will protect you from your enemies." Allah ordered him to announce, so he stopped the caravan and he called those who went ahead to return back and waited for those who were back. When all gathered, the Prophet of Islam addressed the biggest gathering in the history of Islam. The biggest gathering in the history of Islam, which was 120,000 or 125,000 of Muslims, between brackets, companions, Sahaba. And he asked them, أَلَسْتُ أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ? Am I not more entitled on every believer than himself? All said, yes, you are. He repeated the question 3 times, and they said, yes, you are. He said, then for whomsoever I am the master, Ali is his master. من كنت مولاه فعلي مولاه. And he took the hand of Ali and raised it in front of all. For whomsoever I am the master, Ali is his master. And he ordered all who were present to come and give allegiance to Ali, and ordered all of them to convey to those who are not present in the place of Ghadir. So all came and gave allegiance to Ali ibn Abi Talib, being the master of all believers after the Prophet. 70 days after that, the Prophet passed away. Those who remained on this allegiance are called Shia Muslims, followers of Ali. Some group went to Saqifa when the Prophet was not yet buried. They left the funeral of the Prophet and went to Saqifa and made some political arrangements between them with cooperation with the Munafiq tribes around the Medina, and came and enforced someone from Saqifa to be the head of the state. Otherwise, they will kill, they will fight, it will be a bloodshed. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam did not fight them because he did not want a civil war among Muslims. And the Prophet informed him before that they will do this with you. Don't fight. Be patient. So 2 lines. Line of the allegiance of Ghadir. And on the other hand, line of Saqifa. Ahlulbayt always were with Ghadir. And always Ahlulbayt were narrating what the Prophet said about the followers of Ali. And there are many authentic hadiths from the Prophet in favor of the Shia of Ali, the followers of Ali. Some of them are narrated in Sunni books as well, like Tafsir al-Tabari, narrating from Ibn Abbas, the Prophet saying that the best of all creatures are Ali and his Shia. Aliyun wa Shi'atuh. Hum Aliyun wa Shi'atuh. The best, Khairul Bariya, best of all creatures are Ali and his Shia. So Ahlulbayt were always informing people what the Prophet said. No question of any of Ahlulbayt to be following any other sect, but the real Islam of the Prophet, that Islam which was being preached and practiced by the Prophet himself and after him by his holy progeny, Ahlulbayt alayhim as-salam.
Okay, it's just a question that's just come in based on the answer you just gave. The verse you mentioned from Surah Al-Ma'idah, he's saying here, he's claiming that it wasn't revealed at the Ghadir Khum, that the most authentic opinion and historical account is that it was revealed in Makkah.
The last sentence is not clear. The most authentic, what?
Authentic opinion with regards to the when this verse was revealed.
It was revealed where, please?
In Makkah.
Okay. If you claim that, simply listen to what we will show you from Sunni books and the reason of the revelation of that verse. يا أيها الرسول بلغ ما أنزل إليك من ربك. I want you now to refer to one of the very famous Sunni books, which is called أسباب النزول. أسباب النزول by Al-Hakim Al-Hasakani. By Al-Hakim Al-Hasakani. Please go through it. You will see that when and where this verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah was revealed, you will know. And then if you want more details, you are welcome. Phone us again or send us an email. You will see a long list which we can present to you from Sunni books only. From Sunni books only. We'll prove to you that this verse was ordered from Allah. It was revealed that time of Ghadir Khum, and that announcement of Ghadir Khum took place according to the order of Allah, and immediately after the announcement of Ghadir, Allah revealed the verse Al-Yawma Akmaltu Lakum Dinakum. Today only I completed for you your religion. Wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati, and I completed my bounties on you. Wa raditu lakum al-Islam dina, and I accepted from you the Islam, this Islam with the leadership, the divine leadership after the Prophet. That is the accepted Islam for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
What is the more correct in terms of Islamic etiquette? A bowl and jalis or bowl waqif?
The question is, what is the Islamic etiquette in urination, in sitting position or standing position? I'll reply you from Sunni books and Shia books. It is makruh, according to Shia authentic hadith from the Prophet. It is makruh, disliked, to urinate standingly. That is the habit of the animals. Animals usually do that. Human beings should not urinate standingly. There are many harms for urinating standingly. So, in short, standing position is wrong. It is makruh. Unfortunately, some narrators found that some famous names in the history of Muslims, they spend majority of their life as non-Muslims. So when they became Muslims, they could not change their habits. Umar ibn al-Khattab is mentioned in Sunni books that he had one of his habits, urinating standingly. They came and fabricated narrations, false narrations, that the Prophet of Islam also did that, which is false. Even Aisha, daughter of Abu Bakr, Aisha herself said, anyone who claims that the Prophet of Islam urinated standingly, he is a liar. Aisha said, the Prophet of Islam never urinated standingly. But unfortunately, those group who wanted to clear the behavior of Umar, they fabricated narration against the Prophet, and the fabrications are even in Bukhari and in Muslim. They claim, according to this false narration, that the Prophet of Islam did that, which is completely wrong, and it is a lie and allegation on the Prophet. So in short, the Islamic etiquette to urinate in the sitting position, not the standing position.
Is the phrase "no compulsion in religion" in the Quran also applies to Muslims who don't want to obey Islamic rule? Because secular Muslims often use that opinion to reject Sharia law.
لا إكراه في الدين, no compulsion in religion, means Islam does not force people to believe in it. Islam does not impose the faith of Islam on any person who does not believe in it. But that is different from abiding the Islamic rule when you are living in a Muslim society. A Muslim who is living in non-Muslim society does not want to abide to the Islamic rules. That is his own decision, and he will find the result in front of Allah, or maybe in this life and hereafter, because our acts have got results. Every good act or bad act, the result is not only in hereafter, but here and there. Sometimes the result here is not clear. Sometimes result here and there clearly. So if a Muslim does not want to abide to Islamic rule in non-Muslim society, that is his matter with Allah. But no one has right to break the Islamic rules in a Muslim society, because he has to respect the feelings of the society, the Muslims who are in the society. You cannot impose on people the wrong which you believe in, when that wrong can hurt the feelings of others. We Muslims who live in non-Muslim society, can we do something which hurts the feelings of non-Muslims? We cannot. Now, we are living in the West, in Europe, and we believe that the cross, which people claim that Jesus Christ was crucified on a cross, we believe, according to Quran, that Jesus Christ was never crucified, never killed. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. Allah in Quran says They never killed him, never crucified him. But can any Muslim come and break the cross in front of Christians? No, that is wrong. That is un-Islamic. We cannot hurt the feelings of others. We have to respect the feelings of others. Same, a person who does not want to abide to the Islamic rule among Muslim society, he should not break the feelings of others. He can do whatever he wants to do on his own, not in public, hurting the feelings of the society.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is there any benefit for covering male head in Salah, for example, wearing Muslim head cap?
Is it any benefit of covering the head in Salah? I have mentioned before that covering the head in Salah is not obligatory at all for the men. Of course, for women, hijab is must during Salah. But for men, is it obligatory for men to cover their head during performing Salah? The answer is no, it is not obligatory. And many of our ulama say it is even not recommended. The recommended is to wear a turban. For men, it is recommended to wear a turban during Salah. But covering your head by a cap, as you find it in many countries from China to the subcontinent. When you go to masjids, you will find caps made for people who want to pray Salah. They put a cap on their head and pray Salah. That is something which is not obligatory at all. And I said, some of the ulama say it is even not recommended. Yes, please.
Fatima alayhi salam is the Sayyida of the ladies of Jannah. Al-Kafi is the greatest book after the Quran in Imami literature. Why is there no narration from Sayyida Fatima in Al-Kafi?
We have got many narrations in Fatima, from Fatima in Al-Kafi, in Al-Faqih, in Al-Istibsar, in all our books. In all our books, we have got hundreds of narrations from Al-Kafi. And if you want more details, I advise you to look at a book which is called Musnad Fatimat al-Zahra. Musnad Fatimat al-Zahra is a book which collected the narrations from Fatima in our Shia books. That will be the best answer to your question. But ask your people why Al-Bukhari did not narrate in his book from Fatima alayhi salam, except just one narration, which was from Aisha, from Fatima. Why? Fatima lived all her life with her father. Abu Huraira came to Medina short period before the passing away of the Prophet. Short period. It is in the narrations that the date of the victory of Khaybar, Abu Huraira came from Yemen and became a Muslim. He spent in Medina short while, because after that he went to Bahrain as muazzin. So he spent in Medina maybe 6 months or more or less. I say he did not spend in Medina the time that Fatima spent with the Prophet. Bukhari narrated from Abu Huraira more than 600 narrations. From Fatima, just one. Why? Because there is a political trend against Ahlulbayt. the rulers of that time, they did not like any narration from Ahlulbayt. They want Muslims to be away from Ahlulbayt. So they encourage narration from Abu Huraira, from Aisha, from Abdullah bin Umar, from Samara bin Jundub, from Abdullah bin Amr bin As, from X, Y, Z, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Anyone, but not Ahlul Bayt. And you can find it clearly in Bukhari. Bukhari, who lived in a time where thousands of scholars of his time took the knowledge from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq or his students or his students' students. But Bukhari deliberately did not narrate single narration from Ja'far al-Sadiq. Single. Bukhari narrated from enemies of Ahlul Bayt like Imran bin Hattan, like Hurayz bin Uthman. You know, Imran bin Hattan is the man who praised the murderer of Ali, Abdurrahman bin Muljam. So Bukhari does not mind to narrate from enemies of Ahlul Bayt, but he does mind to narrate from Ahlul Bayt. That is a big question. Yes, please.
I just wanted to pick up on a statement made in that question, which was Al-Kafi is the greatest book after Quran in Imami literature. Is that correct?
No, we don't claim that. He is comparing us with those who claim that Al-Bukhari is the greatest book after Quran. No, we are not like those who claim about Bukhari. Of course, we say Bukhari is a book which has got authentic and fabricated narrations. No doubt. Bukhari has got narrations against Quran, against the Prophet. Yes. Of course, for political reasons, Bukhari became very holy book for political reasons. But we don't claim that Al-Kafi is the greatest book after Quran. No. We know that we have got many books. There are 4 main books of hadith. Among them is Al-Kafi. Al-Kafi has got many authentic hadiths, but we don't claim that all narrations in Al-Kafi are 100% authentic. No. So the statement is not accurate.
Okay, thank you. I want to open my pastry shop, but I don't have enough money. Can I borrow money from the bank? If I can't, how can I?
It is permissible for a Muslim to take money from non-Muslim bank or non-Muslim financial institute for any lawful activity like business or buying a house or buying a car or any lawful transaction. So according to the leading Maraj of Taqleed, you are allowed to take money from non-Muslim source, and you know that they will take it back with interest, and you pay the interest as you pay charges. So in short, you are allowed to take money from non-Muslim bank and use it lawfully. Yes, please.
Oh, is it right that Uthman was the first who collected Quran? What did Muslims recite before Uthman then?
This claim that Uthman was the first who collected Quran is one of the many wrong information which was being spread by the governments against Ahlul Bayt. You find this claim in many books, in many TV stations, in many sermons, which is completely wrong. Uthman was not the first who collected the Quran. Then if you want to claim that Uthman, okay, what Muslims used to recite during the rule of Umar or Abu Bakr? The fact is this, that Quran was collected immediately by Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when they took away his right in Saqifa, he sat at home and he said, I will not put my cloth on my shoulder before collecting the whole Quran. And he collected the whole Quran and gave it to the Muslims. Who could dare to change after that? Imam Ali alayhi salam preserved Quran from distortion. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he collected all the Quranic chapters and the surahs, he wrote tafsir. He wrote tafsir on some verses to explain, because Quran does need explanation. And Allah in Quran says, لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. Allah said that the Prophet is a person who explains to the people the meaning of the Quranic verses. Imam Ali wrote the statements of the Prophet in explanation of the verses, meaning of the verses. Uthman and his people did not like those explanations because obviously it goes against them. So Uthman ordered in removing all the tafsir from the Quranic text and keep the text without any tafsir, and ordered that this book of Quran only without tafsir should be sent to different places. They called it Mus'haf of Uthman. So Uthman did not collect the Quranic verses. Uthman removed the tafsir, and also it is in Sunni books that Uthman ordered many Quranic copies to be set on fire. Yes, in Sunni books, all the Quranic copies with tafsir were set on fire. That's why you find in the books, Sunni books, Muharriq al-Quran, the person who burnt Quran. So Quran was collected, all the chapters and verses by Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam, and that Quran is today and will remain till day of Qiyamah, because it is the real Quran, no addition, no thing, nothing omitted from it, the complete, the perfect Quranic text collected by Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam.
Alayhi salam. If a husband becomes Sunni from Shia, is the marriage with Shia wife still valid?
A person got his marriage when he was a Shia, then he becomes a Sunni. Does his marriage to his Shia wife invalid? No. He is still a Muslim. He is still a Muslim. Of course, we have never seen any understanding Shia leaving Ahlulbayt and going to XYZ. But for any reason, some people have got their own reasons financial reasons, psychological reasons, some reasons. If someone wants to leave Ahlul Bayt to others, that is between him and Allah. But his marriage is not invalid because he is still a Muslim. Yes.
There's a couple of questions there. But just I have loads of questions in front of me, but this is slightly, I don't know. I would like you to delve into it a little bit deeper. You mentioned somebody, if somebody becomes a Sunni, is a follower of Ahlul Bayt, decides to leave Ahlul Bayt and still claim to be a Muslim. I don't particularly like to use the phrase Sunni because obviously we follow the Sunnah as well. But let's say that just for simplicity, a Shia becomes a Sunni, leaves the Ahlul Bayt. You said if he does so for financial reasons, why would somebody leave Ahlul Bayt for financial reasons?
I mean, some people in some countries, they want to please the boss where they work. So when in some countries, I don't want to give names, usually real Shia never leave Shia Islam, even if the whole world is given to him. Usually. If the whole world is given to them, because if you now look at what is going on and what went on since 1400 years till today, the movement usually is from non-Shia to Shia. Movement of the scholars, thinkers, ulama, students, truth seekers, always from non-Shia to Shia. Because Ahlul Bayt have got the real, authentic evidence. It is very rare, very rare. Means if you want to count in front of 100% who comes to Ahlul Bayt, maybe one or less goes away, outside. So, reason can be financial, political, social, psychological. We cannot decide now, but we have to study the case itself. But we say, no understanding Shia leaves Shia Islam, even if the whole world is given to him. And you can ask millions of people who became Shia from non-Shia sects. Ask them. You will understand the situation. Yes, please.
Okay, and sometimes if you were to Google, you see that there are many Sunni websites who will use personalities. I don't want to mention names, but they'll use personalities that Mr. Fulan was a Shia or Sheikh so-and-so was a Shia. He now became Sunni. He's seen the light. How do we respond to those types of websites?
Okay, sometimes they create stories. When they create stories, that is easy because no address, you cannot know who's this person. They create stories. Sometimes there is a person whom you can search and find. We know. Now, if you give me the name of any person who is a real person, we will inform you with little bit of search.
Yeah.
The reasons why this person turned back against Shia Islam. We know some people, there is one person who was in the Hawza of Qom. That person, he was very much after dunya and desires since he was a student. This man, for some reason, he went through stages and now he said that I became a Sunni. And they embraced him, the Wahhabis, and he started wearing like them and talking like them. We know what are the reasons because the details are available. So no one leaves Shia Islam for the sake of reality, sake of evidence, sake of Allah. But on the other hand, you will find thousands, I can say millions, yes, millions. You know, in one Muslim country, big Muslim country, in 2001, number of Muslim youth who discovered the real Islam of Ahlulbayt, and they became followers of Ahlulbayt, and they formed an organization for them. In 2001, I have visited them in that very famous Muslim country. Their number that time, 2001, was 250,000 young Muslim men who became followers of Ahlul Bayt. 7 years after that, 2008, the same organization announced that their numbers reached to 3 million.
SubhanAllah.
And you know that many of them, when they become followers of Ahlul Bayt, they face boycott, they face difficulties. Some of them are being kicked out from their families. They find a lot of difficulties, but for the sake of Allah, they keep following the truth. Can you compare this movement with few people here and there for some political or financial or whatever reasons they claim that we have left Shia Islam? Come with your evidence and compare it with the evidence of the scholars who became Shias. Now you go to the internet, you will find how many books written by Sunni or say ex scholars who became Shia through the research. There is one website which is called aqaid.com, AQAED.com. That one website has got 150 books written by scholars who were non-Shias and became Shias because of evidence. And they published books to prove why they found the real Islam in Shia Islam. Go and compare with their evidence, these books, and compare with the claim of the few people who claim that they were Shia in the past. You will see what is the reality.
And last point on this, if you would allow us or afford us,
please.
Is that probably even in terms of course, it's not about numbers, it's about quality, not quantity. I understand that, but there's probably a lot more followers of Ahlul Bayt out there who have chosen for their own safety or well-being not to even announce it because of the climate in which they live in.
That's right. That's right. There are many people who follow Ahlul Bayt, but they don't announce, because when they announce that they follow Ahlul Bayt, they will find many hardships at home and in the work and in the society. Yes, the matter between Ahlul Bayt and others is matter of evidence. Now, between Muslims and non-Muslims, majority of people who change their religion become Muslims. That is an official survey of the United Nations that the fastest growing religion in the world is Islam. Out of every 10 people who select a new religion, 8 select Islam. Okay? This is the reality. You will find some people who claim that we were Muslims and we left Islam. And these few people have been focused upon in the media of the church, and books are written about them. One of them was from Al-Azhar, Sheikh from Al-Azhar. He went to Europe, to Italy, and there in Italy, he claimed that he left Islam and he is now a Christian. Okay. Take his evidence and compare with the evidence of those who become Muslims. You will see where is right and where is wrong. You know, the matter of changing faith is not new from the time of the Prophet of Islam. Peace and blessing be upon him and his holy progeny. Number of the Muslims migrated from Mecca to Abyssinia, Al-Habasha, Abyssinia. Among them was very pious, like Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, who was known later Ja'far al-Tayyar after his martyrdom. Among them, a person who was a Muslim, who migrated from Mecca to Abyssinia because of Islam, but there in Abyssinia, he indulged in drinking alcohol. Then he tanassar, means he left Islam and became non-Muslim. That does not harm us. That does not harm the truth. Yes, always we say, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Oh, our Lord, don't let our heart deviate after you guided us. Because hearts can deviate. But when we seek the help of Allah and we be always obeying Allah and remembering Allah, Allah will protect us from the evil of shaitan.
Inshallah. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, moving on. What is the solution if my wife prays in a separate room to me, but her room is in front of my room? So is it as if she is praying in front of me, a woman in front of a man?
If she is praying in a separate room, then there is a separation. Then it does not count that you are praying in the same room. The rule that when you are praying in the same room, then the female should not precede. Female should not precede the male if you both are in the same room. But if she is in a separate room, then there is no harm at all.
And if they're praying in the same room?
She should pray behind, not ahead of you.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. How can a Shia pray Jum'ah with Sunnis?
A Shia, we are being encouraged to pray Jama'ah, means the obligatory prayers with Muslims of any sect who is not following Ahlulbayt. Because Imam Ja'far Sadiq said in the narration, Sallu ma'ahum, pray with them. When we pray with them, our movements, Takbirat al-Ihram, Qiyam, Ruku', Sujood, with them. Ulama say that we should recite Alhamd and Surah for ourselves, not loudly. Some of ulama say you can even have the intention of Jama'ah. So that is the obligatory Salah. Jum'ah, because Jum'ah has got special conditions. When you pray Jum'ah with an Imam who is not following Ahlul Bayt, okay, pray with them, you will get the thawab of praying with them, but you need to perform your Dhuhr namaz as well, either before or after Jum'ah. Yes.
Thank you. Are we allowed to wear Moroccan thobes?
Moroccan?
Thobe.
Why
Yeah.
not? What is wrong in it? What is wrong in it? Moroccan thobe, Moroccan dress. It is like any dress in Islam. Any dress is allowed as far as it covers the body as Muslim should cover his body, whether it is Moroccan or Tanzanian or Australian or African or whatever. Any dress is permissible as far as it does not go against the Islamic rules. So what is the point of the question?
I guess let's assume that the questioner is asking because some people are not from Morocco. So if they're not from Morocco, should they be wearing a thobe which is not from their country?
Of course, I mean, it is not conditional that you wear the dress of your country only. Now, if you are from, say, Mecca, are you allowed to wear the dress of, say, Russia? Yes, you are. A Muslim is allowed to wear any dress from any country, not only his country, as far as it does not contradict with the Islamic rules. That's it. I mean, a female, Muslim female, is allowed to wear any dress as far as it is meeting the hijab, full hijab. But if the dress, like what is called in the subcontinent, sari, some cloth which some women in the subcontinent, mainly non-Muslims, just wear it, but it keeps parts of the body uncovered. That is haram, because in Islam it is obligatory to cover the whole body. Any dress is allowed for Muslim as far as it covers what is required to be covered.
Are there any benefits of memorizing the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Mentioning the 99 names of Allah is good, but it is not obligatory. Of course, the benefits are there. Whenever you mention any of the names of Allah, there is benefit. And repeating it, like, for example, say, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Razzaq, Ya Azim, Ya Hayy, Ya Qayyum. Always to mention the names of Allah or any of the names of Allah is beneficial. Sometimes repeating some of the names also can give us certain benefits. So it is good to mention the names of Allah as much as we can.
Can mut'a be done between a Muslim person and a Christian person?
Can mut'a be done between a Muslim male and Christian female? That is a question. Can mut'a be performed between a Muslim female and non-Muslim male? The second question, mut'a is impossible between Muslim female and non-Muslim male. Impossible. No type of marriage, whether permanent or temporary, can be possible between Muslim female and non-Muslim male whatsoever. The question is it permissible for a Muslim man to get temporary marriage with a Christian female? The answer is this. If this Muslim man is married, then he needs approval from his Muslim wife before entering into a mut'a marriage with a Christian female. Without the approval, it is a problem. If he is not married, a Muslim man who does not have a wife, a Muslim wife, then yes, he is permitted to have a temporary marriage with a Christian female. Yes.
Thank you. Sufi friends in my university say that they have taken Sufi principles from Hazrat Ali. Is it right? Then why the Shia don't become Sufi?
With all our respect to our Sufi brothers, you know, Sufi brothers are the majority of Sunni brothers. Majority of Sunnis today from all sects, Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali also. Majority are Sufis. There are small minority among Sunnis who are against Sufis. The Wahhabis claim that Sufis are wrong. Some Wahhabi sheikhs claim that Sufis are mushrik. Why? Because Sufis usually visit shrines of their leaders. They go to visit the grave of Abdul Qadir al-Gilani in Baghdad, or they go to the place of Khaja Mu'in Chishti in Ajmer in India. They go to visit many places in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Libya, in Morocco, in Turkey, in Iraq, Syria. You find Sunni Sufis visiting a lot of shrines of their own sheikhs. Wahhabis claim that this visitation to the shrines means that they are mushrik. They worship none than Allah or another with Allah, which is completely false allegation. Sufis are Muslims, and when they go to visit their shrines, they are not worshipping the shrine. They seek the dua of the pious people in the shrines, and they believe that Allah is the only to be worshipped. But Sufism, despite claiming that they have taken some principles from Amir al-Mu'mineen, they are not following Amir al-Mu'mineen fully. Because Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali alayhi salam, has clearly said that after him, all believers should follow the Imams after him. Imam Hassan, then Imam Hussein, then Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, then Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, then Ja'far al-Sadiq, all the Imams till the 12th Imam. So Sufis, most of them, they follow other Imams, Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Maliki, and so others. So Sufis are not complete followers of the teachings of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, no doubt, guided people to the life of piousness, obeying Allah, spirituality, purity, but not through Sufism. Sufis have taken some of the teachings of Amir al-Mu'mineen, but not all of these teachings. That's why you don't find Shias following Sufism, because the teachings of Amir al-Mu'mineen are enough for us. We don't need Sufism to be spiritual, because we have got the treasures from Amir al-Mu'mineen and other infallible Imams. You don't find Sufis among the Shias. because they have got the pure source of spirituality from Ahlul Bayt. Our Sufi brothers, with whom we stand when they are being attacked by the Wahhabis, we say among Sunnis, when Wahhabis attack Sufis, Sufis should be supported, because Sufis don't attack others, but they are being attacked by Wahhabis. And we stand with those who are oppressed. But Sufism is not the full teachings of Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt taught us spirituality through their great dua. Go to the book of Al-Sahifa, Al-Sajjadiyya, Al-Kamila. Read it and compare it with any book among Sufis or non-Sufis, among any human being, any human community. Look, can you find such great book in supplication? You cannot. When you read the supplications of Ahlul Bayt, you will find great treasure of spirituality, which makes you self-sufficient. You don't need to go here and there. Just follow Ahlul Bayt means you are following the Prophet, means you are following the real Islam of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam.
Alayhim as-salam. Thank you. Sorry, just bear me a second. There's a question here. Okay. What is the Islamic etiquette of Laylatul Zafaf? Zafaf, sorry.
Laylat al-Zafaf is the wedding night. Wedding night. When the person gets married. So the first night, when he meets his wife, what is the Islamic etiquette? Good question. Of course, all the questions are good, but it is good to know that night of wedding, there are many recommended things to be done. Some of them to be done by both male and female, and some of them to be done by the male. Okay? What is to be done by both of them, that when they enter their room or house or hotel, it is mustahab, recommended for both of them to perform wudu. To perform wudu, both of them. Then it is mustahab for the man to put his hand on the head of his wife and pray to Allah to keep their marriage as a happy marriage with pleasure and harmony, and grant them good children. Also, it is recommended that the man brings some water and washes the feet of his wife. You see, people say that Islam gives the female lower degree. No. In the wedding night, the husband is being encouraged to wash the feet of his wife. That is mustahab, recommended. Also, it is recommended to recite Quranic verse or verses or chapters like Surah Al-Hamd, Surah Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, Surah Inna Anzalnahu Fi Laylatul Qadr. And it is recommended to recite certain supplications. Allahumma bismika istahlaltu, means short du'as which are mentioned in the books, to be recited by the man. Also, it is recommended when they start their sexual relationship, there are etiquette in Islam teaching the man how to deal with his wife. Some details are published in some websites. You can go and read them, but they are useful in making the relationship more successful and more happy. The man should look after his wife and her pleasure as he looks after his own pleasure. He should deal with her in the best way as he wants her to deal with him in the best way. This is a brief answer. More details can be provided for anyone who wants. If he sends us an email, we'll send more details, inshallah.
Is it respectful to have a tattoo that has hadith on left arm if permitted to have, or going to the toilet?
Tattoo on your body writing a hadith. If the hadith contains the name of Allah, then don't do it, because we are not allowed to touch the name of Allah without purity, tahara, wudu or ghusl. So the second that you lose your tahara, when you go to the toilet, then there is no tahara with you. How come? Your body is touching the name of Allah. That is not good at all. According to leading maraj of taqleed, it is haram. Haram to write on your body the name of Allah, and according to obligatory precaution, the names of the Prophet and the infallible Imams as well. So the hadith should not involve any of the holy names. If the hadith has no holy name at all, we cannot say that it's haram. A hadith without any holy name being written in a tattoo on your body, it is not haram, but in general, we say that tattoo is not encouraged. We don't have anything against it, but we don't also have anything praising having tattoo on our body. But we must be careful that tattoo should not contain any holy name.
Okay, thank you. I want to know if Islamic Bank is halal.
Islamic Bank. Islamic Bank, if it is really Islamic, means if it is really abiding the Islamic rules, then Islamic is Islamic. But unfortunately, nowadays, many banks who are having the name of Islamic Bank, but in their practical rules and dealings, they are not Islamic. The point is, you must be sure that they are real Islamic banks. Islamic bank which does not have any usury is okay. Unfortunately, many of the so-called Islamic banks, they copy the same non-Islamic banks' products, and they bring it to their customers under an Islamic title without Islamic rules. This is to be avoided. The point is this: be sure that this Islamic bank is really Islamic, and then go ahead. If it is not really Islamic, then it is like any other bank. Yes.
Why do you always say that Salafis are not Sunnis when Hanbalis are majority in the Middle East? Same with the Abandis, you refrain. It looks like only Barravis and Naqshbandis are true Sunnis to you. Why?
My brother, I want you to read more and see what the main big sheikhs of Salafis say about other Sunnis. Big sheikhs of Wahhabis claim that Sunnis who are Asha'ira, you know, majority of Sunnis are Asha'ira, Ash'aris in the faith. But many big sheikhs among the Salafis, Wahhabis, they claim that Ash'a'iras are not following the prophets. Means they are another religion. So go to the verdicts of the big Wahhabi Salafi sheikhs and see what they have said, what they have written about other Sunnis. Number two, Hanbalis are not the majority of the Sunnis in the Middle East. Hanbalis are minority even in Saudi Arabia. Among Sunnis of Saudi Arabia, Hanbalis are minority. Hanbalis are minority in Egypt, minority in Syria. Hanbalis had headquarters in Baghdad. And between Hanbalis and other Sunnis, there were big fights and bloodshed between Hanbalis and other Sunnis. You go to Tarikh al-Tabari and read some details about what bloodshed took place in the fights between Hanbalis and other Sunnis in many places, especially Baghdad, because Baghdad was the headquarters of Hanbalis. Also, Hanbalis had a headquarters in Iran, in a place which is called Ray, which is still existing. Ray, near Tehran, was a pocket of Hanbalis. But now, Hanbalis are minority in numbers. We are not concerned about numbers. We are not concerned because we don't believe that majority of minority has any weight in the truth. We, the followers of real Islam, followers of the real teaching of the Prophet and Ahlulbayt, in numbers among more than 2 billion Muslims, Shia Muslims are 500 million. We are 1/4 or more or less. It does not harm us because numbers don't make an evidence. Today, Muslims, whole Muslims in the whole world, out of 8 billion human beings on this world, Muslims are 1/4. 2 billion or more or less, not less, more. But Muslims being minority in numbers does not mean that Muslims are wrong. Muslims are right. Islam is the real religion from God. But my brother, I say that the sheikh, the heads, the big mullahs of the Wahhabis, Salafis, have written against Sunnis who are not Salafis, Barelwis, who are the majority of the Hanafis in the subcontinent. Deobandis are also Hanafis, but they are more inclined with the Salafis. You find what the Sunni Salafi sheikhs have written, you will understand what is the stand and who are the real Sunni and who is attacking the Sunnis and claiming that they are not Muslims.
Okay, my parents are forcing me to get married to someone I don't want to marry. They say they will no longer pay for my education if I don't get married. What should I do?
So they want you to get married. So the idea of getting married is good, very good. But you want to marry according to your own option, and they want you to marry according to their own selection. You should not openly oppose your parents. You should always keep respecting them. Even if they say something which does not suit your thinking, they remain your parents. And you should keep on respecting them. How to convince them that the marriage should be with a person with whom you can live happily for the rest of your life? That is a matter of negotiation and understanding, which you might be able to do, or you might need others to help you to talk to them. Don't be rigid against their guidance. Be flexible and keep the doors open for talking. But main thing, don't hurt the feelings of your parents. Don't overcome the limits, the frame of respect to your parents.
Is there any account of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him and his holy progeny, being fed milk by a woman who was not his biological mother?
It is claimed among our Sunni brothers that the Prophet of Islam was being breastfed by a non-Muslim woman, this claim is not accepted by the followers of Ahlulbayt. We don't believe that the Prophet was breastfed by a non-Muslim woman at all, though it is famous among our Sunni brothers. But it is not authentic according to the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam.
Okay, Sin, I've got a question here. I should have given you more time, but I've just come across it now. We have just 3 minutes left. Of course, if you want to maybe look at this question again in details next week or next time, inshallah, you can do. But let me ask it, and if you want to just give a brief answer, please, and then we can maybe explore it in more detail next time. I have stopped believing in Islam, even though there is overwhelming proof from all sources. It is not waswasa, but radical skepticism, and I cannot seem to regain my belief. Can you please help me?
When you yourself write, you yourself admit that there are overwhelming evidence that Islam is right, you say that you have stopped believing despite all the evidence. There is a problem. you should focus on the reason why you have become like that. It might be a sinful act which you committed and you did not repent and did not seek forgiveness. The sinful act can lead to such situation if you don't repent and don't seek forgiveness. Try to find out the reason and then give your mind the freedom to think, not your complexes, because this can come from a psychological problem. When you admit that the evidence is overwhelming, supporting Islam, still you stopped believing. Stopped believing for reason or for some emotional stand. That emotional stand which is against the reason has no value. Keep on searching on the reason and sincerely seek forgiveness. When you seek forgiveness, the bad effect of the sinful act on your heart can be removed gradually. Repeat astaghfirullah. Repeat supplication and seek from Allah to forgive you and to help you to get out of this situation. And Allah will definitely respond to every sincere person who seeks help. Allah will not let down anyone who seeks help from Him. Allah said, "Id'uni astajib lakum." Seek from me, invoke me, I will respond to you. This is a brief answer. If you need, you can ask again for more details. May Allah keep all of us away from any sinful act, and may Allah grant us the ability to continuously seek forgiveness, because we need to seek forgiveness, not to only to get rid of our sins, but also to protect us from further sins. May Allah forgive all the believers, especially our parents, our families, and all the lovers of Ahlulbayt alayhim assalam, and keep us all under the flag of the guidance of Imam al-Mahdi, عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
Ahsantum, thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina, and thank you to all of our viewers and contributors as always. Until the next time, inshallah, keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.